So next we're going to be talking about the Arecibo Observatory featured in James Bond film GoldenEye shut down. So you can see here, it was severely damaged by a broken cable. Now, from this view, it looks a lot worse than it is. I don't have a, because this is huge, this this observatory. And this is from GoldenEye right here. You can kind of see he's sitting in the middle spot. It's probably a green screen, anything, but Pierce Brosnan as 007 there. And so I actually pulled up an article about it, just so we can learn together about what it does, what they were searching for. And I'll just read about it for you here. It says the Arcebo Observatory. It's an astronomical observatory located 16 kilometers / 10 miles south of the town of Arecibo in Puerto Rico. It is the site of the world's largest single-unit radio telescope until FAST in China began observations in 2016. This instrument, built in the early 1960s, employed a 305-meter spherical reflector consisting of a perforated aluminum panels that focus incoming radio waves on a movable antenna structure positioned about 168 meters above the reflective surface. The antenna structures can be moved in any direction, making it possible to track a celestial object in different regions of the sky. The observatory also has auxiliary 30-meter telescope that serves as a radio interferometer and the high-powered transmitting facility used to study the Earth's atmosphere. So you can see it here. It is massive, this thing. You know, it sucks. I was actually in Puerto Rico before, and had I known, I didn't even really realize that it was there, that, you know, this iconic observatory was in Puerto Rico, or I would have definitely made a point to go check it out. Although I was actually there for a modeling job, and it was, you know, you only go for a certain amount of time, so I wasn't technically available to really have a free time to go explore, but I probably could have changed my ticket and stayed a few more days just to check that out, because that's really cool. So let's keep reading and see what else they got for us. Scientists using the Arecibo Observatory discovered the first extrasolar planets around the Pulsar B1257 plus 12 in 1992. The observatory also produced a detailed radar maps of the surface of Venus and Mercury and discovered that Mercury rotated every 59 days instead of the 88 days, and so did not always show the name face to the sun. No, I might have messed that up a little bit, but I guess so. They corrected a past mistake of what they thought Mercury did. American astronomers Russell Halsey and Joseph Taylor Jr. used Arecibo to discover the first binary pulsar. They showed that it was losing energy through gravitational radiation at the rate predicted by physicist Albert Einstein. Theory of general relativity, and they won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1993 for their discovery. This is let's see. This is a picture. Mercury's north polar region in the radar image obtained with the Arecibo radio telescope. All the bright radar reflective features are believed to be deposits of frozen volatile substances like water ice, or at least several meters thick in permanent shaded floors or craters. Wow, that's really interesting. So this is actually an image that it took of Mercury. Very cool. So I actually have a little tidbit about the extrasolar planet that it discovered. This is just extrasolar planets in general. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to go back to this. Now that we know a little bit about the Arecibo Observatory, let's find out what happened to it. So this is a CNN article. It says the famous observatory in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, featured in the James Bond movie GoldenEye, has been forced to temporarily close after a broken cable smashed through the side of its massive dish. Around 2:45 Monday, a 3-inch auxiliary cable that helped support the metal platform broke, according to news released from the University of Central Florida. UCF manages the facility alongside Universidad Ana Mendez and Yang Enterprises, Inc. When the cable broke, it created a 100-foot gash in the telescope's 1,000-foot-long reflector dish, according to the UCF. It also damaged about 6 to 8 panels along the observatory's Gregorian dome, which is suspended over the reflector dish. The broken cable has also twisted a platform used to access the Gregorian dome, making damage assessment even more difficult. So I guess this is a picture. Can I click on that? Oh, okay. Wow, so here's the damaged cable that happened. I wonder if they know how it happened. Let's see. The broken cable also twisted. Oh, I said that. The folks at the facility were working with engineers and other experts to assess and secure equipment at the facility. Zenaida Gonzalez Cotala, UCF Office of Research and College of Graduate Studies Assistant Vice President for Strategic Communications. Wow, what a title, my goodness. Told CNN that started Tuesday and is continuing throughout the week. Well, I guess they're still trying to figure out what's going on with it. The telescope has been an integral part of a number of scientific discoveries since it opened in 1963. It was made even more famous in the pop culture when it was featured in the 007 movie GoldenEye in 1995. Was that in the game GoldenEye too? I don't know if there was a scene in the video game. I don't know how many people out there are video game buffs, but I was definitely into 64's GoldenEye. What a great game. Classic. Anyway, the Arecibo Observatory has survived a number of hurricanes and even earthquakes. Through it all, the facility has continued to contribute a significant breakthrough in space research in the area of gravitational waves, asteroid characterization, and planetary exploration, and more, the UCF release said. Well, I hope we figure out what happened. I guess I was kind of expecting by the time we got through that article that we would find out what actually happened with how it broke. Maybe it was high winds. There has been a lot of tropical storms that have been moving through. I think there was one that actually moved in 2 weeks ago, and maybe that's what happened. I guess we'll find out more as it continues. This was updated last Wednesday, so there might have been some updates that I haven't seen yet. So I guess we'll find out. All right, so check this out. This is some side note. I mean, whatever. I thought it was really cool. This is from Space News. The U.S. Army General to be sworn in as Space Commander. Space Commander. That's awesome. I want to be a Space Commander. I'm not joking. Like, I wanted to be in the Air Force when I was a kid. I found out I was colorblind, so that kind of totally ruined my plans. I don't know how many people have seen Little Miss Sunshine, but there's this scene in the movie where the grandson or nephew, I don't remember who, but he's like 12 or 13, and he finds out because he's colorblind he can't join the army, and he flips out. Oh my gosh, he was crying, he was flipping out, and I was like, yep, that's me. I when I first saw the movie, I think I teared up a little bit. But anyway, I wanted to join the Air Force, and I wanted to eventually become an astronaut. And now I'm seeing this all unfold. If I had joined the Air Force when I was 18 and traveled through the way to become an astronaut, I would probably be in space right now. So instead of being in outer space, I am in a different space, the internet, the intraweb space. Cyberspace, yeah, exactly. So I just want to read about this a little bit. I just saw it and I thought this was really cool. I figured I'd let you guys know. General James Dickinson, of course, what a great name, will be the first Army officer to lead the U.S. Space Command. Washington, U.S. Army General James Dickinson this week will take the helm as the commander of the U.S. Space Force. He will be the first Army officer to lead the military's Unified Combatant Command for space operations. President Trump nominated Dickinson for the Space Command's top post in June. The Senate Armed Services Committee approved his nomination, and he was confirmed by the full Senate on August 6th by a voice vote. Dickinson will be sworn in at a change of command ceremony scheduled for August 20th at Peterson Air Force, Colorado. On the same day, Air Force General Glenn Van Herk will take the oath as commander of the U.S. Northern Command and North American Aerospace Defense Command. Van Herk succeeds Air Force General Torrance O'Shaughnessy, who is retiring from active duty. Well, congrats are in order for all of you that are being promoted. Congratulations, sirs. I don't know if that's exactly how I do it, but that's all right. Dickinson takes over for General John J. Raymond, who since December has served on as dual roles as head of the Space Command, and as Chief of Space Operations of the U.S. Air Force. Raymond will continue to serve as the head of the Space Force. In December 2019, Dickinson became a deputy commander of the Space Command. Previously, he was commander of the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command. Has anyone seen Space Force on Netflix? I'm just going to talk about it for a little bit. I couldn't watch it. Man, I couldn't do it. I was just you know what it was though? I loved The Office, and he was Michael Scott to me. And I had just recently binged it over the COVID section, and I was just like, man, I see Michael Scott every time I see him. So the Space Force, I saw the first episode. I think maybe I saw the second episode. I don't know. There's something about it that was a little cringy, and I just couldn't do it. I think it had something to do with the fact that it wasn't really the Michael Scott I wanted it to be, but because I loved The Office so much. So, well, congratulations. I mean, I want to, this article's fairly long, and I don't really need to go into too much detail about it. I just thought it was cool that we got a new general as the space commander. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about this. This is awesome. So this is from NASA, and they have reason to believe that Titan has salt water. Okay, and this talks about it. It says, does Titan's hydrocarbon soup hold a recipe for life? I think this is pretty exciting, because there's chances that we have life out there somewhere, and that's pretty cool. So let's read about it. It says, NASA's researchers have confirmed the existence of Titan's atmosphere of vinyl cyanide, which is an organic compound that could potentially provide the cellular membranes for microbial life in the form of Titan's vast methane oceans. If true, it could prove to us that life can flourish without ubiquitous HO. Interesting. So Earth-based cell membranes are made of phospholipids, molecular chains with phosphorus oxygen heads, and carbon chain tails that bind with each other to form flexible membrane in water. Methane-based life, should it exist, would need an alternate to Earth's phospholipid-based existence and would open up a much wider range of planets and moons to the possibility of extraterrestrial life. One possible alternative is vinyl cyanide. So I guess they're saying they might have found an alternative to life on Titan. So that's always been kind of the thing of like, how is there life out there? Is it oxygen based the same, or something about it, that changes like how life came to be? Because we're carbon based life forms, with a mixture of like sun energy and oxygen energy. That's kind of how we became to be. So this is really cool. This is showing like they might have discovered a different type of life that isn't oxygen based. That's pretty amazing. So let's read a little bit more about this. It says this is actually a picture of Titan here. It says this image shows Titan in ultraviolet infrared wavelengths. Red and green colors indicate where atmospheric methane is absorbing light, while the blue color shows the upper atmospheric haze. Wow, that's really a beautiful picture. All right, let's read about it. It says the Cassini spacecraft first inferred the presence of vinyl cyanide in the Saturnial moon through the use of its mass spectrometer, but it took the highly sensitive gaze of the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array in the desert of Chile to confirm vinyl cyanide is indeed there. Maureen Palmer, a researcher at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, and the lead author of the paper describing the research in Science Advances, collected archival data from the ALMA and saw vinyl cyanide high in Titan's atmosphere at altitudes greater than 200 kilometers, with its highest concentration in areas above Titan's southern pole. Excuse me. The low temperature on Titan, which reached 179 degrees Celsius or negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit, is negative 179 degrees Celsius, excuse me. Organic molecules in the atmosphere form droplets that rain down to fill methane lakes in a weather cycle similar to that of Earth's water cycle. There, they could potentially create simple microscopic life forms. Palmer's group performed modeling studies that showed that there is enough vinyl cyanide in Lagia Mare, Titan's northern lake, to form about 10 million cells per cubic centimeter, roughly 10 times more bacteria in Earth's coastal oceans. Wow, that is incredible. So there really, it does seem like there could be life. That obviously they haven't proven it yet, but it seems like the base is there for them to have found at least bacteria in, an outer, well, it's not a planet, Titan is a moon, but man, that is really amazing. Let's read on. Vinyl cyanide has yet to be proven to produce life, but an earlier study by Cornell University researchers that was also published in Science Advances made it an intriguing prospect. The Cornell researchers, led by Professor of Chemical and Biological Engineering, Paulette Clancy, set out to discover whether the molecules that exist on Titan could form cell membranes called azotosomes, which is the name given to cell membranes that might form in Titan's liquid methane conditions. So this is Titan's northernmost giant lake, Lagia Mare, contains the vinyl cyanide to form the cell membranes of 10 million cells per cubic centimeter. So that's cool. This is a lake on a moon around Saturn. That's cool. I mean, I love it. I'm all about this stuff. So, this is really exciting for me. I'm going to read the rest of this here because really I'm intrigued. Phosphorus and oxygen found in Earth's cell membranes don't exist on Titan's frigid methane oceans. So any cell-like membranes would have to be based on nitrogen, hydrogen, and carbon, all of which are abundant on Titan. Molecular modeling studies of the variety of molecules containing these elements showed that vinyl cyanide was the molecule most likely to form a stable and flexible membrane that acts like Earth-based membranes under Titan's conditions. Still, vinyl cyanide-based life, like any other, would face challenging circumstances on Titan. However, Palmer says that if membranes can be made in a lab with a simulation of Titan's ocean conditions, it would make us more optimistic about them really forming on Titan. She notes further that because of the extensive atmospheric chemistry and its bodies of surface liquid, Titan is an interesting chemical laboratory to study the boundaries of possible biochemistry for creating life. Clancy says that Palmer's lab findings were an exciting validation to our prediction, since they also find that the concentration of vinyl cyanide is considerable enough to make the self-assembly into azotosomes, I don't know if I'm saying that right, like vesicles, to a viable process. She adds, it also shows the power of molecular simulation to shine a flashlight in the most promising candidates for prebiotic life in conditions that are difficult to emulate in the lab. Palmer's research was supported by the NASA Astrobiology Institute through funding awarded to the Goddard Center of Astrobiology and the National Science Foundation. The Cornell research was funded by a grant from the Templeton Foundation to study non-water-based life. Non-water-based life. That is really cool. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is the maiden voyage, I guess you can say, for my show, and I gotta say, I really appreciate you all being here with me. This is really exciting stuff for me. I love science. I love talking about the future. I'm all about the future. I really think that that's important. We spend a lot of time talking about the past and the negative things that have happened in our past, and I really want to focus on the future. I want that for all of us. I want everybody to be happy. I want all of us to really come together. There is definitely a divide. And from the DNC, like, they kept trying to put it on Donald Trump, and it's so ridiculous. Like, everything that's happened over the past 4 months, from COVID to the riots, it just feels like they're using it to divide us further. I explained earlier on in the episode about how it felt like the Democrat versus the Republican has been like the go-to battle for my whole life, that I just kind of assumed I was a Democrat. And, I'm sick of that. I don't want to have a battle with anybody. I don't want to be, like, sure, we can disagree on certain things, but, there's got to be a point where we can at least sit down and have a conversation about stuff. We could still disagree, but admit that we're humans and that we love each other and we want everyone to be happy, So space, to me, is, we can't go to space unless we achieve that. We got to have some sort of a baseline to go out there. I know there's this whole conspiracy about aliens don't want to risk coming to Earth yet because, there's like 100 different countries, or I know there's plenty more, 180. I don't know how many countries are on the planet right now, but, there's all these different governments. We're not unified. We're attacking, we're hating each other, and we're hating each other within our own countries. And it's a shame, so, that's basically, I guess I could go on about that for a long time, but really I want to say thank you, everybody here. Wow, you guys all smash that like button. I love it. Smash it again. Do me a favor, smash that like button.